All right. So what am I up to? I guess. So here, let me share my screen. So to be honest, I feel like this week I've kind of caught up, kind of starting just before my vacation that last week. I basically got to do 0, and then I was able to start looking into the long-term plans. But there's one thing that I've been tinkering with, and I probably could have gotten it merged, but I still feel like it's not quite ready, but maybe it's one of those things that it'll never be ready. So this one, creating a new page about controlling CI/CD jobs. So if we look at the documentation right now, sorry, I'm jumping around, specifically the reference file. If you look at the sidebar, like you can see how things kind of jump around, and you have like keywords a lot, but then you have things that don't really match exactly. A good example is rules are also only except. We've got only except basic. We've got regular expressions and supported syntax and all this stuff. But it would be a lot better if all we did was list keywords. We could go from this to this using only except as kind of the proof of concept. And what this would do, it would bring it in line with our API documentation. So let me pick, let's say, lint, because that's a smaller one. Or is it CI lint? That's at the bottom, actually, I think. Yeah, for some reason, I'll have to fix that. But we have a very, very dry like page that lists one topic, an example, a response. And then we have same thing again. We've got the endpoint details, the call, a table, the response, and it kind of repeats again and again and again like that. So that when people are looking at one of the bigger ones, maybe like user is a massive one. You can see how many are on the side, but at the same time, it's really obvious. List SSH keys. I know exactly what I'm going to get when I go there. Single SSH key, add SSH key. Like when I go there, and I know exactly what I'm going to get, because this looks exactly like this, looks like this, looks like this. They all look the same. Yeah. So that's my idea to do the same thing here, is to have all of these listed with a standard template. And where is
that's great?
Yeah, so that's what I've been working on, and let's see if it's up and running, the review app. It's a big change. We've got 300 and something lines changed there, 200 and something there. I'm a bit like one of those artists who just keeps putting a little bit more paint and a little bit more paint, saying, no, it's not ready yet, it's not ready yet. But so for example, if we look at how rules looks like in the old one, but now look at the new only except, it's just really dry. And so we've got only except 4 keys. Here you go, if you want to go to refs. And then we have a keyword type. It's a job keyword. You can only use it as part of a job. What are the inputs that it accepts? Much like the table in an API reference. Here's one single example. Here's additional details in case, you know, I want a little bit of flexibility. So maybe an additional details section. If you really have to put some extra information, put it in additional details. And then the same thing, only keyword type, it's a job keyword, the inputs, variables.
Oh, I love this. This is making me so happy.
Right? So look at how short this is. And then the key to making this work is, which one is this? So this is only changes. in the additional data, sorry, below that, we also have related topics, only changes and except changes examples. This is the new page that I'm not sure about the title, but what this does is it gives developers and contributors a place to just say, I'm using only changes for this use case, and then just list all the use cases on this page outside of the reference, because people don't really need to see that in the reference. But if they're like using only changes or something, they'll be able to come here and look for specific examples that match their use case. But for people who know what they're doing, they can just go here and it's like, what does it need? Oh, it needs an array. What are the keywords that I can use? Oh, I can use it with these ones. And then, yeah, and so that's the whole idea, is the type, the possible inputs, additional details, and related topics, and that's it on this page. And then, so rules, only except, and needs are kind of related. So my idea is to start with only except, because no one is submitting merge requests on this, so I'm not getting merge conflicts. And then I'll be able to put it into and move them all here. And then next I'll move rules here, and then I'll move needs here, because those are all about like controlling when jobs run, job timing. And then in here, it won't be like keywords as much in the list. It'll be like run pipelines when, you know, variable changes, or, you know, like so that people, when they can type in to Google or any search,
more like the job that needs to be done.
Yeah, the exactly, that's the whole idea.
That's great. This is amazing. This is exactly what Dove and I have been talking about, that you know, we've talked about many times that our documentation is kind of very feature focused, and then CI/CD documentation, we have this reference and the docs all mixing together, documentation for features and keywords, and then kind of the workflows, like how do you complete this specific job, because that's kind of the mindset that a developer comes to documentation. They're not looking for a feature, they're looking for a solution to the thing that they need to create, like to do the job that needs to be done. So this is exactly like what I would like to see. So I'm psyched about this change.
Yeah, it's just been a matter of finding time to work on it, because yeah, like I said, I'm like, oh, should I bold this or not? Or should I make this a list, or should it be paragraphs? And it's all just been kind of tinkering with it from time to time. But I actually, like, you can see, where was it? Suzanne was just somewhere. She was like, want me to merge? Like, she's ready, like, let's merge it, let's go. She doesn't want to, she's like, it's so much better. Yeah, ship it, make it happen. And she's right. It's just I've been actually looking at the new page, and it's like, I have to, you know, make this nice to make people want to use this as well. But yeah, I think it's a matter of just get it merged and then iterate off of that. So what, yeah,
it's a huge improvement for sure. Yeah, this is great. I've also been thinking about the getting started page, or get started page.
Don't think about it, just put it out of mind.
It's yeah, it's like, it's not really bad, but it's just like not well structured,
it is.
You know.
So what happened was recently, not concepts, is it this one? No, this one, that's actually good. This one is Suzanne actually redid this one a couple months ago. So this one is actually much better, but it's the main page. I think when you click on this one, I think this one is.
Yeah, and it's very confusing that we have two get started pages.
So this is like supposed to be just like an introductory page. And it's like, I want to run my first, and like, just to rewind a bit, right now in the technical writing team, we're kind of slowly rolling out a new process called, we're calling it CTRT, which is concept, task, reference, tutorial / troubleshooting, or maybe troubleshooting as a special case. And the main thing is we're trying to group pages as much as we can, but at least sections, such that it's only explaining a concept, or it's only explaining a task, or it's a reference. So this one, control when jobs run, would be like a list of tasks. I want to run a job when something, I want to run a job when something. And this should be the concept page. And you can see it says concepts right now, but like we don't need overview. We don't need getting started really. And it would just be explain the concepts of GitLab CI/CD. So I have an issue open about this one, and it's just a matter of buckling down and working on it instead of tinkering with the other stuff that's more fun.
Yeah. So here, basically what you're suggesting is that for this parent CI/CD page, we will have just explain what GitLab CI/CD is and what it does.
Yeah.
Roughly. And then in get started page, this is the one page that you need to get started, basically. That's kind of how I see it. Ideally, like, what's the flow? You've never heard of GitLab CI/CD, or like you heard of it once and now you're coming to the docs. So first you land on the main CI/CD page and you read what's GitLab CI/CD and what it does, and generally kind of how it works, just conceptually. And then if you want to get started, you only basically need the get started page, and it contains everything that you need to get started, branching out to like keyword reference if you want to dig into specific keywords, some more advanced features, and maybe getting started should focus on, like the way I see it, it should be really like a workflow based page. So step by step, taking you through the process of getting started, making it possible to kind of go into different directions if you need to, if you want like a more complex configuration right away or something like that.
Yeah. And so like for this one, I think the idea here is like, how do I get started with GitLab? I've never done this. We're gonna see what it says. So
Nice.
like it brought us there, and that's kind of the whole idea, is like, what would people actually type? And it's bringing us here. It's not bringing us to like the main one. So that's a good question. What is GitLab CI/CD? Where does that bring us? Because people, Circle CI, no.
No, thank you.
Tutorials point. And so it does bring us here, actually, eventually, once we get to the doc. So the idea is to make the page match what people are searching for. The bigger one that is actually, I don't know if you've noticed, but have you noticed this one?
No, actually, I haven't.
Yeah.
So these are child pages under Get Started.
Yeah. So this one was created in the past when people were like, I don't even understand what CI/CD is, let alone GitLab CI/CD. So there was the idea that we should create it. This was before I joined. But we should create a page that tells people, what does continuous integration mean? What does continuous delivery mean? And give like a definition of terms and of kind of relate it to GitLab CI/CD. But what happens is we've now got a split in concept pages. We've got GitLab CI/CD and a general CI/CD. We're splitting things up, and I think this page just needs to be merged into that main page, or perhaps even just deleted in some way.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I agree. I think it's the way you framed it, thinking about those two questions, or like queries that someone would be searching for, get started with CI/CD, or what is GitLab CI/CD? So these are kind of the two main questions that we want to answer initially when someone is onboarding onto GitLab CI.
Yeah, there's also a lot of work happening about the information architecture of the page, like how we set up things on the sidebar as well. And so there's sometimes our managers are saying, oh, well, hold off on that reorganization or hold off on that revamp because we're not sure how we're going to structure things. But this type of change, we're actually getting strong encouragement from management to go ahead with this, make sure the pages have headers that people will actually search for, to not have, I don't know if I can, what would be, so here's kind of a mix. I rewrote this one. This is what I was working on heavily like last month. It's, for example, like, how do I use an instant CI/CD variable? It doesn't say that. It's just like a title. So this is more of a concept to teach people. So we could conceptually, we could put like, what is an instant CI/CD variable? But if we're introducing things, we can just do it like that. But you can see here we have use CI/CD variables in job scripts. So it could also be like, how do I use? But it's not all the way there. I kind of did all of these, but I think from this point to the bottom, that was like, well, we're gonna have to leave that for another day. But this might just get moved to another page, but it's hard. not that it's hard in the sense of like, the pages are big, and it's hard to make small iterations when you want to just like, oh, I just want to take all of this and I want to rename everything and I do want to do all this, but it's actually 1,000 lines, and then you're going through and it takes a long time for some of these big pages. If it's a little page, you get that instant gratification, but for these big ones, it's a long slog to get through them all.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're addressing all of the right things. Like, I don't even have anything to add. I feel like all of my concerns and ideas I wanted to bring to this call, you're already doing all of those things. So it's amazing. Thank you so much.
No problem. It's just a matter of really, I get a ping and then it's like, I'm working on 1,000 lines, or someone's good at typo fix. Yeah, let's work on that, because I can say, great work, I really appreciate it. Let me merge that for you. Or actually, Dove just sent me a blog post that he wrote about the hold on, maybe this will help.
Pipeline editor?
Oh, manual jobs and needs, how they fixed a bug so that, like, if you needed a manual job, the whole pipeline would just sit and wait until someone clicked play on the manual job. And they made it so that now it doesn't wait and it keeps going. So it's kind of more as expected, but some people still complain. So you wrote this big long blog post about the bad way, the new way, how to fix it and things like that. It's like, we need more of these. So he's actually doing the opposite, like the other way around, because in the reference, we're just saying, here's the keywords, here's the thing, here's how here's the acceptable inputs and stuff like that. We don't really have a way to advertise, and we don't really want kind of like that blog style. But I actually replied so I copied it with him, and I replied, and it's like, we need more of these. This is exactly what we need. Like when we're making breaking changes or making some new ideas, like not everyone looks at the release post and it's not necessarily clear in a little blurb. And I think that blog post is going to have a much bigger effect, and we should probably write more of those.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also, we can link some of the blog posts in documentation as well, if we want to make it more accessible, like for someone to expand on the topic.
The problem is that a lot of blog posts kind of go stale and they get a bit out of date. And then at what point do you take it out of the doc? So we kind of just like, let's not link them at all. But then we do lose the benefit of it right now. So same thing with YouTube videos. People put YouTube videos into the docs, and we're always a little bit like, it's okay now, but will it be okay in the future? I think that's a technical writing thing that you don't.
That's true. These do get outdated very quickly. I constantly stumble into stuff that is like 6 months old, and it passes like one day for us, but everything changes in 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, another thing, just if you have a time, I just wanted to let you know, I had my one-on-one with my manager yesterday, and I said it's strange because the number of MRs that I've had to review has gone down a little bit, but I still feel busy, but not in a bad way, just let's say active. I'm not sitting here doing Rubik's Cube or something, passing the time. I always have stuff to do, but what it means is I'm being pulled into issues more. And I told him, because when I started was right when technical writing got moved into the UX group. We used to be like under one group and then moved to just engineering, and now under UX. And I felt like now it really makes sense that technical writing is in UX, because I told him, it's like, I have two designers. I've got Nadia and Vitika, who are designing the interface, and they're asking me about the text in the interface, and we're working together on these proposals, and then together we can both think about how people are going to use it, and then we end up with a great proposal that then goes off to the engineers. And it's like, I am in UX, I'm not like I am helping out with the design and stuff like that, and I've just been enjoying that part, because in the first year and a half in Verify, it's been just docs, occasional pings for UI text or error messages and stuff like that. But over like the last 6 months, it's really swung over to helping out with the design phase, and it's just been really, really nice to work with you and Vitika on the designs. And I really like that.
That's great. I'm really glad to hear. I also really enjoy working with you, and I see technical writing as a critical part of UX. Like, the way I see documentation is that it's part of our product. Like, there's really no difference, especially for products like GitLab. Documentation is extension of the UI, basically. Like, it's just so complex. You need to rely on documentation. And in our research for pipeline authoring, we see that the documentation is used more than GitLab UI for CI/CD authoring. So especially imagine.
I'm sure.
Like, if someone is using their local editor,
they've got another tab open, and it's the docs probably.
Like the only part of pipeline authoring tools that we offer, it's CI/CD documentation. That's what they access. Like, if they don't try out pipeline editor, and what we often see is someone uses documentation and the standalone linter, for instance, and then they use GitLab UI to like navigate to the pipeline and view the logs. But
that up until the pipeline editor, that was my workflow. Like, I have VS Code open here, and that's all I did. And I would just go to the docs locally, like the docs that I had saved on the computer, and I wouldn't even go to the doc site or GitLab UI, and I'd be working away like that. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
So I'm also very excited about collaborating more closely around documentation, and super excited to see all of the changes that you're working on. It's like exactly what we need.
It's just been slow. We have a couple technical writers who are like pounding out 1,000 lines a day, and I'm definitely not that kind of person, but we'll get there eventually. Hopefully, just gotta speed up a bit. I'll definitely get that one in Suzanne's inbox and get her to do one last review and maybe merge it, and then that'll get the ball rolling, and then I can move rules and needs over, and I think that'll help out a lot.
Cool. Sounds great. Well, thanks so much, Marcel. It was great to catch up, and thanks so much for the update. I had no idea, so now I'm just super inspired. so many amazing changes are coming.
There's a little bit of a visibility problem that, like, the technical writing team is kind of a different group and we're just working on our own things. Yeah.
Yeah, feel free to ping us. Like if you're working on something, review something, just ping Dove and I, because we're always happy to jump in and just like have a look just for awareness.
Yeah. Well, I'll ping you on that MR right now.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you, Marcel. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Bye-bye.